Today's a little extra confusing day here, but we set up like this every day. We're online. Seven, 10, 2. Okay, we're ready. The screen's on, right? Good. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Baba Shri Gopi Jana Baba Shri Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Shri Radhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Mayaka Yamuna Tira Jananhaka Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So, today, of course, is the glorious appearance day of Lord Nrsimha. And So I thought, if you read in the Srimad-bhagavatam, 7th canto, the whole history of Lord Nrsimha, most of it is actually about Prahlad Maharaj. Most of it is about Prahlad Maharaj. Lord Nrsimha came to save Prahlad Maharaj, but a lot of a lot of the chapters are really about Prahlad. So I chose this. This is not our normal sequence in Srimad Bhagavatam. We're actually at 8th canto now, but I chose a verse here. The chapter is the 7th canto, chapter 10, verse 2, and we have started a few weeks ago. We started putting things on the screen. You can see it on the screen, right? So so we'll chant the Sanskrit verse. I'm not sure this was written right. Sri Prarada Uvacha. I think Prahlad, but I can't read the Sanskrit text, so we'll read it as it's put here. Sri Prarada Uvacha. I think that's what it's referring to, but it's the way it's written here. I think let's just say Prahlad. I can't because Sri Prahlad Uvacha is Prahlad Maharaj said. So I'm not familiar with the Sanskrit letters enough to know for sure if that's what was actually originally written here. Sri Pra. I don't know. Let's just say Sri Prahlad Uvacha. Sri Prahlad Uvacha. Namang Pralobayot Patya. Saktang Kameshu Tayar Varai. Tatsanga Bito Nirvino. Mumukshus Twam Upashritaha. Sri Prahlad Uvacha. Namang Pralobayot Mang Pralobayot Patya. Saktang Kameshu Tayar Varai. Tatsanga Bito Nirvino. Mumukshus Twam Upashritaha. Sri Prahlad Uvacha. Mamang Pralobayot Patya. Saktang Kameshu Tayar Varai. Tatsanga Bito Nirvino. Mumukshus Twam Upashritaha. Sri Prahlad Uvacha. Namang Pralobayot Patya. Saktam kameshu tarvarai. Tatsangabhito nirvino. Mumukshustvam upashritaha. Shri Prahladavacha. Mamang Pralodvayopatya. Saktam kameshu tarvarai. Tatsangavito nirvino. Mumukshustvam upashritaha. Shri Prahladavacha. Mamang Pralodvayopatya. Saktam kameshu tarvarai. Tatsangavito nirvino. Mukshustvam upashritaha. And then word for word synonyms. Shri Prahladavacha. Prahlad Maharaj said to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Ma, please do not, Mam, me, Pralobhaya, allure, Utpatya, because of my birth in a demoniac family. Saktam, I am already attached. Kameshu, to material enjoyment. Tai, by all those. Varai, benedictions of material possessions. Tatsanga, Tatsanga bitaha, being afraid of such material association. Nirvinaha, completely detached from material desires. Mumukshu, desiring to be liberated from material condition of life. Tvam, unto your lotus feet. Upashritaha, I have taken shelter. Prahlad Maharaj said, my dear Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, because I was born in an atheistic family, I am naturally attached to material enjoyment. Therefore, kindly do not tempt me with these illusions. I am very much afraid of material conditions, and I desire to be liberated from materialistic life. It is for this reason that I have taken shelter of your lotus feet. Let's repeat after me. Prahlad Maharaj said, my dear Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, because I was born in an atheistic family, I am naturally attached to material enjoyment. Therefore, kindly do not tempt me with these illusions. I am very much afraid of material conditions, and I desire to be liberated from materialistic life. It is for this reason that I have taken shelter of your lotus feet. Srila Prabhupada's purport. They should read the. Let's see. Let me read the verse just before this. This is verse number 2, so it'll make more sense. Oh well, okay. Lord Nrsimha had this is after he had already Lord Nrsimha had already killed Hiranyakashipu and he was so happy with Prahlad, he wanted to offer him some benediction. That's how the previous chapter ended. And then first verses before this one, the Saint Narada Muni continued, although Prahlad Maharaj was only a boy, when he heard the benedictions offered by Lord Nrsimha, he considered them impediments on the path of devotional service. Thus he smiled very mildly and spoke as follows. And then we just read today's verse. Prahlad Maharaj said, "O my dear Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, because I was born in an atheistic family, I'm naturally attached to material enjoyment. Therefore, kindly do not tempt me with these illusions. I am very much afraid of material conditions, and I desire to be liberated from materialistic life. It is for this reason that I have taken shelter of your lotus feet." So now, Srila Prabhupada's purport. Materialistic life means attachment to the body and everything in relationship to the body. This attachment is based on lusty desires for sense gratification, specifically sexual enjoyment. Kamais taishtaya hrityana. When one is too attached to material enjoyment, he is bereft of all knowledge, Hrita Jnana. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, those who are too attached to material enjoyment are mostly inclined to worship the demigods to procure various material opulences. They are especially attached to worship of Goddess Durga and Lord Shiva because this transcendental couple can offer their devotees all material opulence. Prahlad Maharaj, however, was detached from all material enjoyment. He therefore took shelter of the lotus feet of Lord Nrsimha and not the feet of any demigod. It is to be understood that if one really wants release from this material world, from the threefold miseries, from Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadi, birth, death, old age, and disease, one must take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for without the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one cannot get release from materialistic life. Atheistic men are very much attached to material enjoyment. Therefore, if they get some opportunity to achieve more and more material enjoyment, they take it. Prahlad Maharaj, however, was very careful in this regard, although born of a materialistic father, because he was a devotee. He had no material desires. Anyavi Ashrita Shunya. So just imagine this situation. Here's this young boy, maybe 5 years old or so, Prahlad Maharaj. He's been saved by the Lord. He's been saved from many, many attempts of Hiranyakashipu to kill him, because Hiranyakashipu could not he could not tolerate having a son who was a devotee of Krishna. He cannot tolerate that. So he finally concluded that the only thing he could do was to kill him. And he tried to kill him. He threw him off of a cliff, which would have normally killed anyone, but Krishna caught him. He had tried to have him stomped on by big elephants, giant elephants, but the elephants would not do it. He threw him in a pit of snakes, poisonous snakes, and the snakes would not bite him. He tried boiling him and putting him in boiling oil, but it would not. It was not war. It was not hot for him. It didn't have any effect. And other things too. He tried many attempts to kill him because Hiranyakashipu was so desperate to get rid of him, because how can I have a devotee of God in my family? So, but anyway, in the end, as the story goes, not story, history. I always say story because but they're actually. Shishi Gornitai, Shishi Radha Hari, Jagana, Balaram, Lady Shabatu, and Shigane, Balaram, Ski. But finally, previous to what we're reading today, Hiranyakashipu is asking Prahlad, after many attempts to kill him, where have you gotten this power that I've tried so many ways to kill you, and where have you gotten this power that you've not, that I cannot kill you? Oh, my dear father, I got my dear best of the demons. He didn't call him father. My dear best of the demons. You're not just a demon, but you're the best of the demons. So he said, my best of the demons, I've got my power from the same place that you have yours, from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So again, Hiranyakashipu couldn't take it, because he was an atheist. He actually didn't believe in God. And he certainly wasn't going to surrender to God. So he was so finally he said, okay, so where is this God? He's thinking, if he's here, let me see him and I'm going to kill him. I'll kill him myself. Is he here? Is he here? Is he here? And he points to the pillar in the palace. And there's actually a pillar somewhere. It's supposed to be the same pillar that he broke out of. This big around. What's left of it. And the palace is all gone, but there's just that part of the pillar was about this big around. And he looked at the pillar and he says, is he here? And Prahlad Maharaj says, yes, he's everywhere. And of course, Prahlad knew he was everywhere because God's everywhere. So then he took his sword and with a great noise and great strength, he smashed hit the pillar. And the first time he hit the pillar, he heard this very loud sound. It was actually Lord Nrsimha roaring like a lion. Of course, he is a lion. It's a lion, half man form of the Lord. So he was roaring, and it says that his roaring was so loud and so fearsome that even on other planets, even in the higher planets, it was people were scared. So you imagine Hiranyakashipu that was right there. And so then again he took the sword and he smashed the pillar. And just when he's smashing the pillar, Lord Nrsimha broke out of the pillar. So he actually manifested himself in the pillar, and he just broke out. And Hiranyakashipu couldn't believe what he was seeing, but still he's thinking, okay, I'm more powerful than anyone. He's thinking that he could not die because he had gotten benediction from Lord Brahma. After lots of severe austerities, Lord Brahma came he asked Lord Brahma previously that I want you to make me immortal. Lord Brahma, of course, says, I cannot do that. I cannot give you something that I don't have, right? So he said, but he said, I want you to make me immortal. Make me so no one can kill me. And Lord Brahma says, of course, I cannot do that because I have to also die. So then he says, okay. Hiranyakashipu is thinking he's very smart. So he says, okay, but at least make me, I cannot be killed by any man or any animal or demigod. I cannot be killed by anyone, any man, demigod, animal. Lord Brahma said, okay, that's okay. I cannot be killed by any weapon. And he says, that's okay. I cannot be killed in the daytime or the nighttime. He said, okay, I can give you that. I cannot be killed inside or outside, right? Inside of a building, outside of a building. So they said, okay, that's okay. I can give you that benediction. Any other benedictions? Anyway, he thought he covered everything. And then, of course, this was before he started taking over the universe. So he had previously so he thought that he was immortal. No one could touch him. And up to that point, no one could touch him. But anyway, he saw Lord Nrsimha there, ready to fight with him, and he was eager to fight. There's no way this person, whoever he is, whoever or whatever he is, there's no way he's going to defeat me. I cannot be killed. But they fought and fought and fought, and after some time, of course, Lord Nrsimha just decided to stop playing around, and he grabs Hiranyakashipu, puts him on his lap, rips him open with his long nails, and pulls out his heart, his intestines, and a gruesome scene. But a very happy scene for those who were everyone else who's watching, because they really hated Hiranyakashipu. So they killed him like this. So all this had happened previous to where we are now. And Prahlad Maharaj, and Lord Nrsimha was really worked up. He was angry. He was in an angry mood when he was doing all the fighting with Hiranyakashipu. So the demigods, everyone who was there, they were afraid of him too. Seeing him in such an angry mood like that, and so they were trying to see how to pacify him so he would cool off, because they were frightened themselves, and they were trying to the demigods, and they're very expert in offering perfect Vedic prayers and everything. They were doing, but nobody could stop his anger. Because he was, even after he killed Hiranyakashipu, he was still, just like we were really angry about something, we say so many things, and it takes a while for it to cool off, right? So Lord Nrsimha was doing like that, showing like that, and so he so finally, after everyone else tried their best to make him cool him off, take away his anger, they said, Prahlad, why don't you try? Prahlad's only he's a 5-year-old kid, but he's feeling, what can I do? I don't know how all these Vedic prayers and all these things, but he was very sincere, and he was a pure devotee of Krishna, and so he offered his prayers, which are also in Srimad-bhagavatam. And Lord Nrsimha became very happy with his prayers and his humility like that, and he calmed down, he cooled down. So all these things that happened. This is just a quick summary. previous to where we are here in the Srimad-bhagavatam. Now, now everything is kind of getting back to normal, and Lord Nrsimha is wanting to offer a benediction, anything. God, I'll give you anything you want. Anything, I can give you the whole world. I can give you a whole planet. I give you anything you want. Just ask for it. And Prahlad is he's replying like we're saying here. My dear Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, because I was born in an atheistic family, I'm naturally attached to material enjoyment. This devotees feel they're always attached to material enjoyment, even if they're not. Therefore, kindly do not tempt me with these illusions. Okay. And so on. So that was a preview. So we can learn from this. We can learn a lot from Prahlad Maharaj's his preaching and from his in this case his response to Lord Nrsimha. So we also were probably born in not the best conditions. At least I wasn't. As far as I definitely was not born in a family of devotees, and I definitely was not living as a devotee before I knew about devotional service. So so we also could try to take this kind of a humble position, even if Krishna was to give us all kinds of material benedictions, then we could feel, oh, don't offer me those things. The only thing I want, or the only thing I should want, and the only thing I do want is to be allowed to engage in devotional service. I mean, maybe material things will come, but we shouldn't aspire for them to be for our own enjoyment. The Srila Prabhupada was explaining in the purport here that in Vedic culture, most people, in Vedic culture, most people are, in the true sense, they're what are called karmis. We said that we refer to the people in general, karmis. But karmi means that they're following the Vedic injunctions, but for the purpose of following the Vedas, demigod worship and those kind of things, which are mentioned in the Vedas, so that they can, in the future, based on the Vedic knowledge, they can get different kinds of material benefits. That's what karmi actually means. And so most people in Vedic culture are like that. Most people in Vedic culture are not really strict devotees of Krishna, but they're religious because they're following the Vedic injunctions. So Srila Prabhupada was explaining like that most people are like that, doing things to get material gain, and not so much interested in doing something transcendental to develop pure love for God. But Srila Prabhupada, of course, has given us the essence of all this, of the essence of the Vedas. The essence of the Vedas is not demigod worship. It's not merging in the Brahmajyoti. It's not doing anything material. What he's given us is the opportunity to engage in devotional service. And actually only through devotional service can we actually become happy. Srimad-bhagavatam says, second canto, chapter 1, akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udaradi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham padam. Means if kama, if you have no, kama means desires. So akama means if you have no desires, material desires. Akama, sarva kama means if you have all material desires. Sarva kama. Moksha kama, if you have desire for liberation. In this case, it's referring to the personal liberation. If you have whatever you desire, no desires or any kind of desire you have, you should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even if we have material desires, we should worship Krishna. We should not go to demigods. We should not do anything else. We should worship Krishna, even if we have material desires. Because by going to Lord Krishna, then even with material desires, what happens is that he'll either take away this desire, so we're not bothered by it, or he will satisfy it in some way that'll be ultimately good for us. But if you go to the demigods or you go through some other material means to satisfy your material desires, then you may get the material desires, but you won't get purified. You won't get purified of those desires. By going to Krishna, you get purified, just like who was it? Dhruva Maharaj. We're discussing other classes. Dhruva Maharaj had big desire. He was so upset when his father wouldn't let him sit on his lap. He said, "Okay, I'm going to show him. I'm going to find God, and I'm going to get a benediction to have a kingdom better than my father's, even better than my grandfather's. His grandfather was Lord Brahma. Nobody has a better material kingdom than Lord Brahma. So he was very ambitious, Dhruva Maharaj. And he performed very heavy austerities for several months, only several months because he was very determined. But when the Lord actually finally appeared before him, and was ready to offer him these benedictions, then he said, I was looking for pieces of broken glass, material things, and now I found the greatest gem, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, devotional service. So he was thinking like that. So he didn't even want anything that he had aspired for, because now he was so satisfied because he got so purified. But still, the Lord gave him what he originally had asked for, because ultimately Dhruva Maharaj got the benediction at the end of his life. Well, actually, during his life, he took over his father's kingdom shortly after he finished his austerities. His father went and took sannyas, went to the forest to practice, spiritual life austerities, and Dhruva took over the kingdom. And at the end of his life, he went back. He was taken to his own planet that the Lord gave him, which we know as Dhruvaloka. Well, we know it as the North Star, pole star, but he knew it, or it became known at his time as Dhruvaloka, which is actually a spiritual planet somehow. It's a spiritual planet inside the material universe. So, but when the universe is destroyed, that planet is not destroyed. But the point is, because we're talking about Prahlad today, Dhruva Maharaj, he had this desire, but even when he didn't want the desire anymore, he got it. He got what he originally had aspired for, and he got this wonderful kingdom, spiritual kingdom, which was of course better than Lord Brahma's planet, which also it comes to an end, better than his father's kingdom, of course, which would come to an end. And he had his spiritual body and his spiritual planet. He got the most. Why? Because he chose to engage totally in devotional service. So we have this opportunity to become Krishna conscious, fully Krishna conscious, go back home, back to the spiritual world. Um, and this material world, whatever we have or don't have in this world, it's whatever we have or don't have, this world is temporary. And in eternal time, this world is not more than a flash, you know, or Mahavishnu, in his time, the whole universe is created, exists, and annihilated within one breath. Everything was just, the entire universe is just created and destroyed, just now. Well, if I was Mahavishnu, like that. So we have this opportunity to become Krishna conscious, and we study these books, we study this philosophy, then to always be reminded of our position, of our good fortune, and and that we can by following this process, if we have that faith is very important, that we can become fully Krishna conscious in this lifetime. There's no reason, if we're already here, we already know about Krishna, we're already chanting Hare Krishna, we're already engaging in devotional service. There's no reason that any of us cannot finish up our business in this very lifetime. And Prahlad Maharaj was encouraging his friends and everyone he saw to do that. He had earlier in his life, well, not much earlier, he's still 5 years old here. We were doing all this, but he had previously been preaching to his classmates, his friends. The teachers went out of room. Okay, you guys could play for a little while. We'll be back. So when they would go out, then he would start telling everyone about Krishna. But this was a demoniac school, materialistic school, pretty much what we have in the world today, for the most part, because unless things have changed that I'm not aware of, I remember when I was in what year it was, early in high school, maybe it was junior high school. One year they had taken out prayer at school. We used to, for my whole school time in school, from the time I was in first grade until the time I was, whenever this happened, you started the day with two things, with the Lord's Prayer, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, and so on, and with the Pledge of Allegiance to the American flag. Both, of course, are mentioning God. And then one year I went there, and it didn't exist anymore. And after a few days, one of the teachers said, maybe somebody was asking about it, and she explained what happened, that since the previous year, there had been a big Supreme Court ruling that nobody could be told to pray or mention God in school. You couldn't talk about God in school. They even threatened to take you out of school if you were caught praying in school. It was pretty bad. So that it was like that. It was a materialistic. It was and still is a pretty materialistic system. Because they say, we have freedom of speech. So if we decide we don't want to believe in God, we don't want to hear about God, then nobody can tell us to. Anyway, that's a material schools today. You have to be going to a religious-based school. Those should still be the same. So Prahlad was going to this kind of a materialistic school, being taught specifically materialistic things. There's no mention of God in the schools, but he was preaching to the students, to his friends, and he was telling them, don't waste your time. You should become Krishna conscious. And they say, oh, Prahlad, Oh, Prahlad, we're only kids. We're only like 5 years old. We can become Krishna conscious when we get older. They're saying, well, let us play now, enjoy. And he says, no, you should become Krishna conscious now, because right now you're young and you're in school, and for maybe another 20 years or so you'll be in school and studying. And school takes a lot of work, a lot of study. So you'll be working very hard in school, and then once you're out of school, you may probably get married, have families, and all these things, and then you'll spend another 20, 25 years like that, right? Becoming very, very, very much entangled in worldly affairs, always thinking that, okay, when I get this out of the way, then I can start my Krishna consciousness. And then by that time you're maybe 50 years old, and then you start getting the 50s and 60s. Those of us who have gotten up in that area, we can see that we don't have the energy that we had when we were little, like that. So he was preaching like that. So you're playing now when you're real young, then so many years in school, then so many years in family life, and so many years later on something else, and finally maybe when you're gotten everything else out of the way, you're 70, 80 years old, 70 or 80 years old, and you just don't have the energy, or that you become basically invalid, and you can't do anything, even if you want to do it, even if you have the desire, you can't do it, and then the life ends soon after that. So he was preaching like that to his friends. So of course he's preaching to his friends so we can learn. So that's why we, whatever age we have taken up the path of Krishna consciousness, we should take it up very seriously. That doesn't mean that we stop everything else we do in life, because we have to work, or you have to do different things like that. Maybe we have families and so on, but everything should be centered. We should have this knowledge so that we center everything around Krishna's, around devotional service, so that we don't wait until we're about ready to die and think, okay, now I'm going to start. It won't happen after the age of 40 or so. They say it's really hard to change your ways. So the earlier we start, the better we are. Because everyone here has actually started. So I'm, as you say, preaching to the choir. But anyway, the lesson is there. Prahlad Maharaj was preaching to his friends early on. You start now. We've not started so early, but the same principle is there. Take up Krishna consciousness very, very seriously. Work everything else, make that our priority, and everything else we fit it into our life and our schedules like that. Everything else we have to do in material life. And if we do that, then we have every opportunity within this lifetime to become fully Krishna conscious and go back home, back to the spiritual world, where of course, there is no birth, death, disease, or old age, like that. So, any questions? Comments?
Why did the Lord come in the form of light?
Oh, okay. Well, he comes in different forms according to the need. It's an eternal form, but he manifests in these different forms according to the need. So I mentioned earlier in the class about Hiranyakashipu was asking all these benedictions, right? How he could try to become immortal. But of course, Lord Brahma could not make him immortal. He already told him that in the beginning. So, but okay, I cannot be killed by any man or any beast. Okay, well, Lord Nrsimha was not a man; he's God, and he's not a beast. If anything, he's half man, half beast. But he's not this one or this one. So and Hiranyakashipu was, when he was killed, it was not during the daytime or the nighttime. It was at twilight, I guess it was, between day and night. It was not inside or outside. He was killed in the, like in the doorway, I guess, between inside and outside. He was not killed with any. He didn't kill with any weapon, because nails are not normally considered a weapon. You think of weapons those days, swords, spears, and different things. But it's things of fingernails being a weapon, like that. And there's, and there were some other specific benedictions. I don't. Oh yeah. So he was in the land, in the lands, on the air, or in the water. But he was killed actually on the lap of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He was laying there. Our Nrsimha deity here, the bigger one, he's in that pose, but without Hiranyakashipu. He's just like that. So that's why he appeared in that particular form. And just like we were talking the other day about Lord Varaha. Lord Varaha is the boar incarnation. Lord Varaha came in that form because he had a particular task to perform. Of course, he can do anything any way he wants to do it, but he manifests like that. So, boar is a pig, a hog. So he, at that time, the brother of Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, he had caused the earth to fall into the Garbhodak ocean. So it was down, this dirty thing, deep down under the water. So who could save the earth? So the Lord himself, in Varaha, he dove into the water in a pig form, and he did what an ordinary material animals like that do. They like going in muddy places and dirty places, and they're known for that. And so he went down there and scooped up the earth with his nose, his nose. So he manifested himself. So he manifested himself in that way for that purpose. Lord Vamanadev, dwarf incarnation. He appeared like that to trick Bali Maharaj, I think. Yes, and he who at that time was controlling the whole universe. So but he came but Bali Maharaj was very charitable. He was demoniac tendency. He was just a materialistic person, but he liked giving charity to the Brahmanas. So he appeared as a dwarf, it's a very small. Dwarf means a short person's not fully. There's stunted growth, we say. So he was a dwarf, and he was a Brahmana. And so he came and he asked Bali Maharaj for 3 steps of land. 1, 2, 3 steps. And of course, he's very small, so 3 steps of land is maybe about 2 feet, 3 feet. So Bali Maharaj is thinking, why are you asking me for so little? I can give you the whole planet. He was a very powerful king. He had control over everything. And he said, this is a lesson for us, Vamanadeva says, no, if I'm not satisfied with just 3 steps of land, I wouldn't be satisfied receiving even the entire universe. I'm not satisfied with this little bit. I would, and it was kind of like that for us. If we really have desires, if I'm not satisfied with what I need, then no matter how much I can get, I'll always want more and more and more. So that was his lesson for us to learn. So he says like that. So I'm satisfied, just 3 steps of land. But that was the trick. And Bali Maharaj actually was even though he was in a demon family, he understood that this was Vishnu, and he was inside. He was actually a devotee himself. So he was thinking, let me surrender, let me do something for this Vamana Deva. So he said, I'll give you the benediction. Okay, 3 steps of land. So even though Vamana Deva was a very small person, a dwarf, but his first step, he reached from where he was standing all the way to the end of the universe, to the core of the wall of the universe. You can imagine how I can't imagine how he could do that. But he could reach. He took 1 step that long. And the second, no. First step was to cover the whole planet. Second step covered the whole universe. Now he's saying, hey, down there, you've offered me 3 steps of land. I've taken 2, and I have the whole universe. What else can you offer me? And he says, you can put your third step on my head, which means I'm surrendering to you. So he surrendered completely to Vamanadeva. And Vamanadeva, from that time on, acted as the doorkeeper of Bali Maharaj. And he became, I'm surrendering to you, but okay. So Vamanadeva actually remained there as the doorkeeper of Bali Maharaj in his own kingdom. So the Bali Maharaj actually gave everything to Vamanadeva in that way. So we're talking about incarnations coming for certain purposes and in different forms. So Vamanadeva appeared as a dwarf to play this trick on Bali Maharaj and take everything. All the incarnations they all come in particular forms for particular purposes. So that's the general. Yes, actually he's a descendant. Same family, so it's still the demon family. But Prahlad, because he was a devotee, then so many members of his family coming would also become devotees. Srila Prabhupada also said like that. If we become Krishna conscious, then Srila Prabhupada said 14, and I read it, 14 generations of our family will become Krishna, well, he said the word is liberated. Liberated means they'll become, he means free from sinful reactions at least. It means becomes devotees. So it may not be in that lifetime. We may not see it right now. All of a sudden, our relatives have, but past, present, and future. If we become Krishna conscious, or even by practicing Krishna consciousness, those who came before us, so many generations, and those who are coming after us, who aren't even born yet, so many generations, will have the opportunity to become devotees of Krishna, like that. And Sri Bhaktisiddhanta said even further, if you become a pure devotee, a perfect devotee, I think he said 100 generations, past, present, future. So like that. So it's just there's a lot of benefit, not only for us but for others. So we're worried about family. Okay, I became Hare Krishna. Everyone's kind of upset with me because they don't like what I'm doing. Okay, well, they don't understand that they're going to, if not this lifetime, in the future, they're going to get some special benediction because I'm doing this. Because I'm practicing Krishna consciousness, therefore I can go back to Godhead, and they'll get good opportunities themselves too. They still have to go through the process, but they'll get that opportunity uh, because because they are in my family. So that's a special blessing of Krishna and Lord Chaitanya. Like that. And well, just I said I was going to check on something. The other day I made a statement. It was yesterday about Lord Brahma's the first birth in the material world. We're talking. I found it. Yes, Srila Prabhupada said that. When the living entity first falls into the material world, he takes his first birth as Lord Brahma. Yeah, it's ninth canto. The canto, chapter 24, text. I forget the text number. Huh? Yeah, the next canto. Yeah, 58th verse. Ninth canto, chapter, what did I just say? Ninth canto. I have to go back and find it again. But then anyways, it's in a purport. Srila Prabhupada makes that statement about Lord Brahma. He first comes into the material world. For the living entity first falls into the material world, his first birth is as Lord Brahma. And that generally, he becomes degraded and goes down, becomes worm and stool, or an insect, or something like that, and then has to work his way up. But if he becomes a devotee, which apparently happened in this time in our universe, because Lord Brahma is actually a head of the disciplic succession, so he's a pure devotee of Krishna. But many times that he comes in and he's really the mode of passion, and he's really in a sense of controller of everything, because you can imagine having ability to create everything, and then you forget who you are. So if you do that and you lose control, you lose consciousness of who you actually are in relationship to God, then you can, they say that the bigger you are, the harder you fall. So Lord Brahma is in every universe. There's the Lord Brahma, and Lord Brahma is in a very big position. So if he doesn't become Krishna conscious, because he's the most intelligent, so if he uses that intelligence in the right way, he'll go back to Godhead. If he uses it the wrong way, apparently that usually what happens, then he goes down and he gets completely entangled and is stuck in this cycle for a long time. That means we were all Lord Brahma at one point, and we messed up. So now we know the secret, we need to become Krishna conscious and go back home, back to the spiritual world, and finish this whole thing, and see how many others we can help become Krishna conscious on our way back to Godhead. Anyone else? Okay, so we'll end here. Later on today,